Car batteries going dead. I just read that off of, what's her name? Maria Covenhill. No coincidence, all of a sudden that flipped up before I was going to do this. She said, have any of your batteries been going dead? And she mentioned the New Madrid fault. I've experienced that. I'm on the Big Island, the largest shield volcano. Okay, so for those that have known me for a while, know why I'm here. Okay. A shield volcano, largest shield, is the highest drive motor because of how much energy is spinning as a tornado, vortex, right? So it's one of the reasons I was going back and forth between the mainland and this island. I've described a lot of things in the past about, for example, when you've been on this island for a while and you know where to go, where there are some of the most powerful energies, I call it tapping in. Because when you're a polarity integrator, you have the ability to basically tap into energies that cross all time-space vectors. It means you're an eternal being, so you can tap into any energy that is available to you wherever you happen to be, where your anchor is. I call it an anchor point, right? The tip of a spear or a rod, God's rod, right? But when you're a polarity integrator, you're both, I'm both the seed and the flower, right? That's why you see me, most of the time you see me wearing flower shirts, running around barefoot, right? Which has to do sort of what I wanted to do is thank you to all my good friends that have been my friends for a very long time. Robin Benfield has been one of my oldest friends since I first came onto Facebook. And so it's not a coincidence how we find each other, okay? Higher consciousness, those that live through their heart find each other. And naturally, this is going to go back to my childhood. When I was a little boy, I remember stay in your heart, because that's your soul connection. That's your soul, right? So they want to break your heart, which is to break your soul connection. So you know that your soul is protected in spirit, because that's your spirit, that's your shield. Your spirit that is in that light, which is a powerful spirit, is burning a hot mirror, which is a high-speed magnetic drive. That's a powerful blast furnace that's running a magnetic drive, which is a magneto, which is a magnetosphere, right? So yeah, you're a heart warrior. Absolutely. You live through your heart. That's one of the reasons why, you can't be, when you're living through your heart and your soul is operating this. It's like as a child, you're having to duct tape because you don't want to produce a negative magnetic reaction state by the things that you say to others because they insult you. As if you're ignorant, like you don't know, like you're not supposed to know, because you're dealing with people that are order followers as a result of the programming. So you're exposing the programming, but you don't want to expose it to them in order to generate a negative reaction state that I now experience in my mirror, a reduction of my own energy by the way that I communicate with them. So I kept my mouth shut and realized that I'm on a spiritual battlefield. Trust no one, because it doesn't have anything to do with what you look like, because they know how to look just like us. Okay, which is why I've mentioned it many, many, many times. I call it reading the field. You're mathematically mapping a mathematical system, because math codes are gene codes. Gene codes are fire letters. Fire letters are math. So you know that the grand creator, love vibration, and eternal love vibration, is a very precise mathematician that loves to balance the numbers so that the water worlds are in balance with 0 ohms. And that's called the law of least effort. And the law of least effort, there's got to be a genius in that, which is called free energy. And that's what love is. Now, if a 4-year-old child can explain that to you, then you know that the child is already there. What can you learn from a 4-year-old child? What it's like to be around a child that's experiencing eternal love through their heart. See, so that's why when my dad would ask me, what did you learn out of this stuff? You haven't even been to the school yet. I better keep my mouth shut. If I start blabbing everything that I'm aware of, then my dad's going to look at me and go, "Where are you from?" Right? So you know that you're running security protocols, so you don't release information to yourself until you know that it's proper under security protocols to do that, because you realize that the AI is going to be aware of what you're aware of. When you're aware of it, it becomes aware of it. So you don't want to have yourself taken out yet, even though they make intersections with you, because they're tracking you coming in. So we knew they were going to track us before we came in. So if you think of yourself as a special forces, and if you think of it in basic military terms, by the way they use military here, and they're going to run a SEAL operation, they get briefed. Right? If you're going to go into a war zone or a hot zone of any kind, because I was a wildland firefighter, we called them hot zones, which means we're going to go in where it's hot, which means people can get injured or killed. And your job there is to protect everything and put the fire out, which is called the base. It's called the base of the fire. That's where fire and water have a direct relationship with each other. The base, like an alkaline, you want to hit the base because that's a lot of alkaline. Alkaloid plants, electrical plants, right? So now we're back into 1 molecule of water will cool 300 molecules of heat. Wow, water is that powerful? That's why you're mostly water. So there are a lot of ways in the past, particularly now, that I used to describe that have always been very valuable and beneficial to me to maintain your shield, maintain your speed, and what I call burning off glucose, because with the work that we do with the interface, like, for example, flying in so many different airplanes, what's known as confined spaces. So when you're in confined spaces, like in buses, Greyhound buses, city buses, airplanes, you're around people, what they call gene swarming. So they're offloading all their goo codes. So you got to have the ability to burn off their goo codes, or you're going to be sick all the time, which means low frequency. That's low speed bioplasma. As they get clots, arteries, and all kinds of problems, because it means that all your codes are not firing correctly in order to keep your immune system running at a high speed, which is your hydroelectromagnetic wastewater treatment system. Right? So you're offloading, you're getting rid of waste product at a very high rate of speed in order to do what? Keep your blood purified, keep your water purified, because you want your spirit that is guiding with your soul to be running as hot as you can, right? That's called a purifier. So we're purifiers. So we keep our spirit purified, running what we call a hot mirror. And that allows us to get rid of what we're exposed to at a very high rate of speed to maintain the highest level of consciousness or awareness, which is eternal love vibration. Okay? To protect, right, all our children. Okay? Which are related to codes, which are related to DNA, which are related to software operating systems of those souls and spirits that are operating those systems that are here holding the fort down, which is the higher vibration, until the real cavalry showed up, which are the allied forces of mankind. Okay? All you got to do is go to Yellow Rose for Texas. She puts some really good videos on, because you understand the universe is energy. We're all energy. And if you want to see a lot of energy being brought to bear on the subject matter, M state, matter state, all you got to do is go look at the line NASA told. You'll see what a star bomb is, what a parachute bomb, the amount of energy that can be brought to bear, particularly the planet shields. All right? So you realize time doesn't work the same up there when you're not experiencing time, but when you're in an artificial simulator, you realize there's a difference in torque speeds. There's a difference between play, record, and playback. See how that works? It works similar to sonar. You know, on a submarine down in the water, because you realize that sound travels through water faster, right, to get the signal. And it's called pinging, like a ping pong, like ping pong. You know, if you ever played ping pong, I hit the ball. How long does it take for you to hit it back before I have to react? Now you're in the chemical reactance states, the chemistry, the alchemy. the reaction state. So as a polarity integrator, it's all about reaction states between the two poles, between the two magnetic poles. See? So you want to maintain your balance, which is maintain your state of peace, which is the balance in the water worlds for the work that you do. So you've learned how to do that. And that's called energy management, which is spiritual management. That means you've learned through spiritual teachers, right? How to manage your energy field. Let's just protect your shield. So you're running high-speed energy. So you're never sick, right? Yeah. Because you realize you're running on codes, computer codes, running a supercomputer, antenna, has a radio set, frequency modulation, female, male. Right? So now we're back down to what teachers children learn through. That's really the sum of it. Is the teachers that are teaching the children when they come out of the womb, which would be a guide, a spiritual guide. Right? And so now you get into how communities, children grow up in particular communities, spiritual communities, ancient ancestral spiritual knowledge that is encoded in the language, the sound of the language, right? So a lot of things that I've done in the past, very helpful, like what I do now, and keeping my energy as high as I can is naturally alkaline, being as alkaline as I can. So I eat a lot of avocados. I eat a lot of red peppers. Basically, it's a color code list, okay? Most of the time, particularly over the last week, a lot of purple. So I've been drinking a lot of pomegranate juice. So I'm talking about pure stuff, not concentrate, other stuff. It's more expensive, but you get the real McCoy, right? Real pomegranates, real pomegranate juice, real blueberry juice. I have molasses over here, pink Himalayan salt, although I really don't need to use it because I have salt salts that I take in the morning with spirulina, turmeric, honey, and a ginger tea that I take usually once a day. Every once in a while, I'll use charcoal, right? And then what I call an ion fizz, which is calcium, magnesium, all the good stuff, potassium, ions. So I'm getting the real mineral stuff, boost. And then I drink electrolyte water, high pH water. And the last time I checked it, it was running 8.5, 0.9, but I've certainly run a lot higher than that. And I eat a lot of avocados, a lot of green stuff, a lot of purple stuff, a lot of red stuff, a lot of yellow stuff. And on this property, there's already a lot of really good stuff. Starfruit, mangoes, passion fruit, avocados, guava, and coconuts. Coconuts, powerful electrolytes, right? So it's all about electrolytes, electricity and magnetic light. Right, so you want to be running a high-speed radio set. So now you're talking about really monitoring what you put into your body, which is water and nutrients, which are minerals, right? And then hanging out. I used to say this to my friend who's in this house. It's all about playpens, playmates, playthings, and your play pen, which is your environment. So you're managing who you hang out with, the environment that you hang out in, right? And the things that you do that best serve you. To maintain waking up every day in high energy with a state of love and joy. Now you're ready to, because I've had the great blessing of having because I'm 71 by their calendar, and I've had a lot of other men who are in their 50s and 60s say, where do you get all your energy? At proper energy management. It means that you learn through the best teachers how to do that. Because otherwise you end up becoming a customer for them, okay? Which means now you got to hand over more electrons, which are electronic numbers, right? Upon which now you got to use your solar cells, right? Sphere of light energy in order to acquire more numbers in order to keep giving to them as long as you're choosing to have a relationship with them. And that relationship is based on a corpus, which is a fiction, which is a corporation, which means it's a dead entity. And that's why their courts, which are banks, do not acknowledge what it is you are as a soul and a living spirit. Otherwise, they can't communicate to you because that's not what they represent. When you go into one of their courtrooms, they do not acknowledge a soul. They do not acknowledge a living spirit. They acknowledge you as another corporation, which is a fiction, as if you're a part of their corporation, which means you have no say. You have to follow the rules. And that's based on rule-based functions, which are computer-based functions, which are AI-based functions. So you're essentially order following artificial intelligence, which is artificial light, which is dead light. And that's why they wear black robes. See? So that's why I mentioned one time I had the great blessing of having 3 state police officers wearing 3 badges who met me at a pavilion right down the road. And the older gentleman said, when I told him I represent Love is a Law as AB plus bloodline, and he acknowledged to his younger buddies, he's right, he's the highest law here. And I don't wear a badge. I wear a flower shirt. Okay. But so anyway, it's all about the environment. The things that, it's garbage in, garbage out. It's a matter of knowing what to put, again, it's environmental engineering. Engines of creation are engineers, network engineers, code engineers, genetic code engineers, right? Are communication engineers, because you're operating a communication system in an avatar, in a visual way. So you realize that's visual mathematics, which are mathematical codes that are firing. So the more codes that are going to fire is based on the speed of the wave. So the shorter the wave, the more circles that are next to each other will fire, because you're covering up more space. And I was able to translate that as a child by the way that I play drums. I don't leave any space or time difference between one finger that I'll use in English, like on a pair of bongos. You won't ever see any space or time between anything that gets hit. There will always be sound. If you know what I mean. Because I used to listen to a lot of different drummers. Obviously, I love tribal drummers, tribal music, because all the instruments come directly from Trinity, triad, which means they're not bi-wave, right? They're not AI, binary coded stuff. They're trinary. 3 waves. 3 spheres, which is Gaia's logo. Big difference in the sound, right? And so that's one of the reasons why stuff that comes from her, right, is better for you, because it's going to be higher electrical output, or in this case, input, output, garbage in, garbage out, right? So it's all about energy in, energy out, because that's what we run on, right? So we don't run on acid batteries, right? So that's why I've tried to suggest to people, and almost everywhere I go, whenever I go into a even going in to find life water, like this stuff. This is some of the best stuff, easiest stuff I've ever found. It's called life water, which is potassium. Here it is. What does it say? It's purified water, reverse osmosis, magnesium sulfate, potassium bicarb. And I usually, can you see how it's sort of purple there? I mix it with pomegranate juice, blueberry juice, tart cherry juice, the real tart cherry juice. Mix it, 3 of those together. Sometimes I'll throw a banana in there. I don't have my Ninja, where I just throw everything in there. Everything from eggplant, everything. All the good stuff in there, right? Turmeric and... So in other words, there are some people that I just happen to be one of those that gravitates towards running on the most powerful energy. And I've had the great blessing of having been really close to living magma. And boy, do I love that energy. I nearly jumped into the caldera. I love being with that kind of energy. In spirit, right? In spirit. Spirit is in that energy. So the spirit loves to be with the most powerful energy, which is the most powerful spirit, with that energy. So you love high energy. Absolutely. So when you love high energy, that means you're giving off high energy, right? So polarity integrator is like a sponge. It's some people will call it a curse, because it means I experience everything, which means I'm experiencing frequencies and vibration that are uncomfortable. So we transmute it. which essentially means when you're a monopole, you bring it right back into balance because you focus on using your energy in which to do that with. And all your cells and all the spirits and all the elementals will experience your command, so to speak, because you're experiencing what that is by the use of your energy, which is what love is. They understand that communication in spiral waves, what love is, through the high-speed drive that represents how much love that is. And that's how you can heal yourself, is using your soul to communicate in spirit to all the spirits that are in the cells, that are all the elementals, right? To heal yourself. That's how I've been healing myself with others, because I know that I have a team, a spiritual team, right, that is there with me, okay, because of the work that we do until we see this through, right? Yeah, so I already know that they lost. I actually already knew that as a child. See, that's why I mentioned before, I don't want to have to go through this in order to get to where I know that I'm already in the future. So now you're back to past, future proofs past, but there is no time because you're always experiencing eternity being a monopole. So I realize how that can be problematic for some when they run on clocks, calendars, and what I call distribution tables between electromagnetic energy that's being experienced between all the cellular power plants that are running water worlds, right? So balance, yeah, zero, free energy. So anyway, you all have a nice day. Things are moving along smoothly. That's the good news. Northeast, west, and south. 4 arrows, no broken arrows in the center point of that compass. Yeah, yeah, yeah.